Hi guys, so the metabolic disorder I'm going to be talking about today is methylmalonic acidemia. It is an autosomal recessive disorder passed down from parents, so both parents have to have it. It affects both boys and girls equally, as well as across all ethnicities, and it's usually diagnosed in the first year. If it's not diagnosed by then, the children usually dies before diagnosis. This disease affects 1 in 48,000 births, and it is the inability to process specific fats and proteins, specifically methionine, theanine, isoleucine, and valine, which increase the methylmalonic acid in the blood, and they don't have the enzyme to break down those amino acids, so the buildup is toxic for them. Symptoms of this disorder develop as the child eats more protein, and the symptoms would be dehydration at first, failure to thrive, yeast infections, and developmental delays. It eventually can lead to seizures, strokes, and death if not diagnosed soon enough. The way to diagnose it are early exams of the child, especially if it runs in the family and it's genetic. The symptoms of this disorder develop when a child eats more protein within the first year of life, and it causes dehydration at first, and then failure to thrive, yeast infections, and developmental delays. This disorder causes strokes, seizures, and death if not diagnosed soon enough. The diagnosis is usually done with a newborn screening exam recommended by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, especially if parents know that they could carry this gene. They recommend that test as well as further testing. The main test is the methylmalonic acid blood test, which tests specifically for that amino acid. And high values will indicate the newborn error. It also could indicate vitamin B12 deficiency, so then they would further test to make sure it's not a false negative for this disorder. Then they would look for the ammonia in the blood gases, CBC levels, MRI of the brain, electrolyte levels, and then genetic testing of their parents. And early diagnosis is really important for this disease and the treatment of it. The treatment of this disease, as you can imagine, is a very controlled diet because of the protein and fats that they're unable to metabolize. They want to make sure that what they do eat, they are able to break down and use for energy. So it kind of goes in 3 steps. The first step would be just a low protein diet to limit the acidemia attacks and supplement with the other amino acids, proteins, and fats that they can have to try and get as much of those nutrients as possible. If those supplements don't work, they should further limit their diet and avoid isoleucine, theanine, methionine, and valine. And if that doesn't work and they're still having problems and symptoms and getting sicker, then kidney and liver transplants are usually recommended. This provides the body with new cells to break down the methylmalonic acid, and has been shown to be really helpful in this disease. Other treatments would be to avoid people that are sick and get genetic counseling for the parents, as well as extended newborn screenings at birth. As far as the outcome, unfortunately, this is a very hard disease to live with and treat. There really isn't any medication or treatment that can be done except for MNT through nutrition, and without correct treatment or diagnosis early, this disease is fatal, and the child usually dies before diagnosis or shortly after diagnosis with uncontrolled diet or other complications. And usually this is because of coma, death, related issues caused by kidney failure, as well as seizures and strokes. I hope you guys learned a lot about this disorder, and sorry it was a little piecey together, but yeah, have a great day. Good luck studying.